started, you probably heard a lot of chatter about, oh my gosh, there's going to be a new baby boom. And some numbers are suggesting that we are seeing maybe a 30% increase in births right now. And that doesn't only mean new parents, that also means new grandparents. So what do they need to know? Well, health and aging expert Anthony Cirillo, a grandfather of 6 himself, has some ideas. Welcome back to Charlotte Today, Anthony.
Oh, thanks, Beth, for having me.
Well, I just said it. You're a grandfather of 6, so this is not your first rodeo when it comes to grandchildren. What are some things that maybe our newer grandparents might need to know?
Well, one of the things that I experienced, when looking back on this is that, our grandkids are really blessed. When I was growing up, I only knew my mother's mother. So think about, first of all, what a blessing that our grandkids have today. They not only have, they may have 4, they may have 6, depending on blended families and all kinds of things going on. So first of all, they have more people to learn from, and grandparents have more, opportunities to interact. So, that's one thing I think is different from a grandparenting of old. I think the other thing to keep in mind is, everything old is new again. At this point in our life, you might be somewhat jaded, especially after the last few years, maybe even the last few days. But, when we visit our youngest granddaughters in Philly, it's a total immersion. So you truly have no idea what's going on in the world. It's just their world. And I think it's important to embrace that immersion. And I think it's good for your emotional and mental health. Our granddaughters religiously, that's why we need a break every once in a while. Wake us up at 6:30 in the morning every day, right? Game on, tickle fights, pillow fights. No sweeter sound than a granddaughter's laughter, but it's great for our mental and emotional health, especially during the pandemic and these isolated times.
And I imagine it probably really impacts the relationship with your children too.
Oh, definitely. So, our daughter now in San Diego is a single mom with 7 and 9-year-old boys. And, given her wild youth, I would have never anticipated what a great mom, she is. And I think it reaffirms to the parents that we must have done something right because, we all question, was I a good parent? But I think it really strengthens the bonds and the admiration. We see the pride that our kids have in us when we're bonding with their kids and, vice versa. And plus our grandkids love us to death. They may eventually have issues with their parents, but, we're rock stars. I'm actually a musician and a singer. And when we FaceTime with the girls, my granddaughter just says, "Pop, you're a rock star." And of course, the bonus is you don't have any more parental guilt, right? We just get to play and give them back.
I love it. I'm going to start calling you a rock star too, just so that now that I know this about you. But
yes, please do.
Mentioned it. Playing, it's so important. Let's talk about why it's important.
Yeah. So of all the grandparents in our tribe, and that's, 3 kids, 6 grandkids, I think I qualify, if it doesn't already come across, as the silly pop. Right. So I'm naturally inclined to be silly and have fun. But, there's a lot of serious grandparents out there, a lot of serious people. And I think you have to embrace the silly. Right. Consider, the grandkids remind us how silly that we forgot to be. So play is fun and grandchildren bring it out. And we need to embrace that and get silly with them.
I love it. Well, you and I are going to be really good friends because I'm silly more than I'm not silly. So that's really good advice. Now, given the fact that we are still in a pandemic, which we've all been living in this strange world together, how do our viewers make the most of being a grandparent while still living this kind of restricted life?
Right. So obviously you have to take precautions. And, frankly, our kids are a lot more worried about us than, I guess we give ourselves, in our daily lives and maybe some of the chances we take. But, during Christmas, we spent 13 of 16 days with our grandkids. And, but we took a COVID test beforehand, whether or not that's totally going to immune you from it. But, so we did everything we needed to be safe and quarantine before we went and visited them. So be safe if you can do that. If you can't, then make the most of video calls to get to know them, right? And here's the thing to keep in mind, especially if you're a brand new grandparent. This pandemic's not going to last forever. So when they're just getting to be fun, 6 months, 8 months down the line, hopefully this will all be over and we won't be having this conversation. So I think for now, as you're thinking about that, I think you also need to realize what a gift they are, the hope for the future that they bring, and reminding us of what really matters in life. And I think that can sustain us while we're waiting to actually maybe physically embrace and touch and play with them.
So wonderful to have you on the show, Anthony. What great words of wisdom. Do you have a website where people can go for information?
Yep, www.theagingexperience.com.
Love it. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you again, Anthony.
All righty.